Welcome back to the Corner of Whimsy and Bliss. Today is April 21st. We've got a few things growing. We've added a few fun things to the beds to get a little light back here. We're still building the garden out, but we're making some progress. We've got a few things that we've harvested. I made a really yummy chicken wonton soup today with my first of the season bok choy, carrots, and garlic scapes. It was delicious. So I'm going to take a second to head back into my shed for a second because this past weekend, I was finally able to get back in there. We got a little bit of help getting the what do you call this stuff? I'm going to call it weed barrier. We were able to get this laid back down correctly. We're still going to have to put a little bit more down. I basically need to cover all of the grass back here because what I realized is it makes too much of a mess. The way the backyard is graded, all of the rain and cut grass and everything comes forward. It gets super soggy and soupy and muddy and messy. So I just want to cover it all up. The rain is blowing the wood chips all over the place. So I'm going to cover all this up eventually. And this little path will be either some type of stone or pressure treated wood that we can use to walk on so that it won't be so messy. We've got a few plants going. I like to start my seeds outdoors because I've tried to start them indoors with zero success. There's just not enough light in my house. And then the grow lights and everything that I had, they weren't strong enough. I didn't have space for the super heavy duty commercial grade setups. So I'm like, okay, we're going to forego the early setup and just wait until the weather warms up and get everything growing outside. Luckily, here in northern Alabama, zone 8A, 7B, we happen to have a really hot spring. So it's devastating on things like my cool weather crops, like my peas and my kales and Swiss chards and all of those things. It's harder on them. Like even these poor little nasturtiums, they're struggling in the heat. We still have a few things like that's tatsoi. We have some mustard greens there. That's chard. The kale, the blue Russian kale, is actually doing pretty good. But like I had to pull out all the bok choy because it bolted. My peas are starting to bolt. So, it's just too hot for cool weather crops in our spring, but perfect for getting an early start on warm and hot weather crops. So, what you see here is hundreds of tomatoes, peppers, flowers. I'm trying to grow as many flowers to fill this backyard as possible. We'll need tons of help with the pollination because there just isn't anything growing here. So I've got Zinderella peach zinnias, salmon zinnias, dwarf zinnias. There's more Echinacea purpurea getting started. There's the white swan coneflower. It hasn't popped up just yet. There's a garland daisy, which is super cute. Let's see, is that the snow globe? Snow globe comfrena. Plenty of borage. Ivory princess calendula. The white borage. Moonlight marigolds. More Oklahoma salmon. Zinnias. Garland daisies. Purpurea. Have some stevia going. Tons of tomatoes, every different type of tomato, every fun color, flavor, texture. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I chose my tomatoes based on flavor profile and the seed membrane. I do not like when the seed membrane is really slimy and separates from, the flesh of the tomato. That is so gross. I like a really firm like meaty type of tomato, but I like them sweet. I don't like the really tart, tangy ones. I prefer the sweets and citrusy and, pineapple flavors and things like that. So that's a lot of what we have going on in this bed. I have to get all of this stuff potted up. I've blended up all of my soil. So the next day off, I'm just going to just have a day, potting everything up. I do have I want to say 4-inch Epic Gardening seed starting cells. And then I also have the really big 5-inch ones too. So I'll reserve those for things like, honestly, I'm not sure what I would use that for. I do want to try and hold on to some of these tomatoes. I want to try and keep them alive through the hottest part of our summer so that I can replant them once it starts to cool down in the latter part of August. So we can get that. And by cool, in the latter part of August, September, we're still in like the 80s to 85, 90 heat range here. So hopefully we'll get that second flush of tomatoes versus trying to force them through 100 plus temps in the middle of the summer. So that's the goal. And so what we're doing over here, this is what I'm calling my mini orchard. At least this is what I'm thinking for now. So this particular area is 16 feet across and I want to say about 25 deep. These beds are 3 by 3 by 2, so they're 2 feet tall. I do plan on planting dwarf fruit trees. I have the fruit trees. They're hanging out in my staging area is what I'm calling this. Trying to keep them alive, getting them back to health because they were purchased prematurely when we had that first warm day when we thought it was spring. Then we had several cold snaps. I had to put them in the garage to keep them alive. And so they're trying to bounce back. They're a little stressed. So I'm thinking all of the trees will work over here. I'll also plant these beds densely so they'll have herbs and flowers and hopefully maybe some strawberries growing in there with the trees. Maybe vegetables that kind of ward off bad pests like radishes and things like that because they're pretty deep. I have to do everything above ground because if you notice here, this is what all of my soil looks like throughout the entire property. It's hard, condensed, nutrient deficient, compacted, limestone laden, red Alabama clay. So everything has to happen above ground. Up until this weekend, these ramps had to be moved out of the way so that we could lay all of this material. So I haven't actually been in the shed for 8 months. 8 months. So let's go inside and see what kind of foolishness I have going on in here. And what I need to do to get this shed converted to a garden shed. So, unfortunately, this space was intended to be like a little warehouse, if you will. For a very long time, I ran a small home-based home decor business, vintage business that also included vintage clothing, coats, jackets, boots, books, handbags, that kind of thing. But honestly, my interest has shifted. Like, this shed needs to become a garden shed. It can't just house all of my trinkets and treasures that I've thrifted along over the years. It just can't. I need the space. I need to be able to, I need to be able to work in here. I have a lot of wood projects that I need to work on. So I need a place for the wood to stay clean and dry. So over there, those 2 boxes, those are actually the boxes for my greenhouse kit. I also need to get this space cleaned out so I could start doing the prep work on the greenhouse. Like, you have to seal off all of the ends of each one of the panels to keep like dirt and debris and water and everything, condensation out of them. I like to also get in there and label each piece so that once I do start building or I get help to build it, it'll be a lot faster project. So and I could build it. Like this shed is 12 by 16. My greenhouse is 8 by 8. So I could technically build the majority of the greenhouse in this space if I could get rid of all of my stuff. So a lot of this is inventory from my website, but it is also part of my supplies, my home stuff from when I first moved here from Texas. So there's still boxes in here that I need to unpack. Like there's some of my cookware. Like, how do I let my precious cookware just hang out in the shed like this? It's so sad. So, yeah, we've got some goodies in here, and I need to figure out what I want to do. If I'm going to take the time and try to sell it all, or if I'm going to just package it up and have, a charity come and pick it up. I even thought about opening my doors and letting resellers come in and, fill a bag or fill a box for like $50 a box. Like as much stuff in there, as much stuff in there as you possibly can, because I really, really need the space. But there's a few things that I do need in here for the garden. Like if you see those insulators there, what looks like clear little snowman looking things, I like to use those on top of, like you place them on top of pointy things in the garden so that when you're walking around outside and you're working, you're not paying attention, you're less likely to poke your eye out because you have something blunt that's on top, that'll prevent you from, poking your eye out. So I got to get those out. What else do we have here? We have a couple little planter type things that we can use. I will most likely keep all of my vases because I'm going to have a wide selection of cut flowers, and you always need a good vase. Like how many times has someone, like a gentleman purchased someone a bouquet and the young lady doesn't have a vase or vase or whatever? Like that picture back there, that white picture, that could be used for flowers. Like it's tons of fun stuff, tons of baskets in here, baskets up there. There's all kind of stuff in this place. But what I came in here for mainly is to get these pots out. So I do plan on planting in front of my raised beds. I plan on putting in front of each one of the large squares, the 6x6 beds, one of the terracotta pots. Actually, no, one of the whiskey barrels planted with flowers and herbs, and then kind of use all of these different terracotta pots around it to add additional color and interest and, plants and flowers and herbs for the pollinators to get them in there and pollinating everything because it's their season. They're waking up now and they've been coming in and scouting to see what type of flowers and yummies that's in the garden. Of course, I don't have anything right now growing other than, the seedlings. I did order a few plants from Burpees, but oh my goodness, I don't even want to tell you guys about that experience. They shipped the first part of the order, which was probably the equivalent of about 20 plants. They were all dead and dying and diseased and just absolutely disgusting. Like, and the sad part is someone in quality control quite literally packed that order and said, sure, these will work. Send them on out. So I'm starting all over again. That's another reason why I had to start so many flower seedlings myself, because I knew I needed a ton of flowers and I do not trust that the rest of the flowers that I have on order from Burpees are going to be salvageable. Like I have tons of zinnias, echinacea, lisianthus, coreopsis, coleus. There's tons and tons of flowers that are on order. Like something, the rest of the order is probably about 200 plants. And I just don't trust that they're going to look like anything or be worth anything. I think they'll end up in the compost or honestly in the trash because they're so diseased. These plants were so diseased that they sent me. I don't want them even touching my garden. I don't want it poisoning my garden. So, yeah, so I came in today and out here. Let's see what we got going on in here. Any pots? Oh, that birdhouse is cute. I could use that for something. Oh, that's dishes and stuff. I might have to send some of this to my niece who just got her first apartment. That might be fun. But like even some of the, like this here, something like this, I could post somewhere and fill with flowers. There's more baskets back there. I can pull them out. I can actually plant flowers and things in those baskets as well. That might be cute. So I do want to try and save some of the things that I've collected over the years. Like this stuff is really cute. Like I love vintage and I don't want to just see it go to the dump. I'd like to use as much of it as I can. There is still a lot that I can use in my house. Like I have to add some shelves and things like that to display some of the collectibles. But like even those wrought iron pieces there, you can actually kind of hang them off the fence outside and tie strings up. I don't know, this might be too Jimmy Rig, but try tie jute twine up and let the let the beans and tomatoes kind of climb up. So kind of use that as trellising, a decorative piece of trellising. So there's all kind of fun stuff, but mainly these pots, I got to pull them out. I have quite a few of the big ones, quite a few of the kind of large, medium-sized pots. They're just going to be, flowers in there. I understand that they dry out faster, especially in the heat of, the northern Alabama sun. But for what I will be using them for, these are all heat-loving flowers and herbs. I also have a ton of Oya spikes that I'll be able to use within the pots to kind of keep them taken care of. And I'll mulch them and all of that too. So I got to get those out. Those boxes are actually the rest of my kitchen stuff. So there's like the rest of my Le Creuset cookware, like Instant Pot, like all kind of stuff in there, crock pots and things that I need, but I just haven't had time to unpack it. I need to have some of my closets redone inside the house. Like we have a small kind of hallway closet that I'd like to have converted into a pantry. I need to actually have my pantry redone so that it's larger and functional. I need to have some type of cabinetry, which I have cabinetry in my laundry room, but across from the washer and dryer, I need more cabinetry or shelving. And then there is a space in my family room that I want like a whole blank wall that we don't use. I'd like to have some cabinetry put in there and have it match the kitchen so that I can at least, get the cookware all put away, get some of the collectibles up, like these scales. Like I really want to be able to have them displayed. I do want to clean them up a little bit and touch them up a little bit. I don't care for them quite that rustic, but I do love them for what they are. I have I think about 5 or 6 of them. So I need to have some shelving put in so that I can display things like that. Like all of the ironstone. There's a lot of vintage glass. I have like milk glass. And like those are things that I love. Like my milk glass collection over there. So a lot of fun stuff, a lot of ironstone that I've just been able to luck across as I've been thrifting. That little percolator coffee pot is so, so cute. I can't wait to use that. All kind of fun stuff in here. I really need to take some time and try and sell some of this stuff, honestly, but I don't know. I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts. Is it worth the effort, like the space and the time that it would take to sell all of this? I need the space and I need it immediately so I can get to work on that greenhouse. Because even just trying to like have a garden my size without a greenhouse, I'm realizing that is near impossible because you just can't start enough seeds indoors, and then starting them outdoors, it works, but you run the risk of, one cold snap and you're out of luck. Like even the last 2 days, we've had 40-degree temps, and I'm like, oh my God, I got all these tomatoes and peppers out there. It's 40 degrees. So I really got to get this greenhouse up and functioning this year, which partly why I haven't set it up yet is because I really had to figure out where I wanted it to be and to figure out how to protect it from all of the wind that we get. We get routinely 40, 50 mile an hour winds. So I had to work out all of the logistics and, figure out how to anchor it and protect the panels and, protect it from leaking and all of that. So I think we've finally gotten that worked out. So in the location, the only real place that it can work, I've gotten that worked out. So it's just a matter of having space to put it all together. But anyway, oh, there's my, probably can't see them tucked in between there, but those are my window boxes for the shed. So I've got to get those out, get those installed. I've even got to create space so that I can even get them installed because I want to put like a piece of wood back there between those two studs underneath the window so that when I go outside and anchor the window boxes, they'll be drilled into wood versus drilling directly into whatever this material is. Is it particle? No, it's not particle board. Whatever this siding is that they use for the sheds. I don't want to drill it and have that kind of weight and water and all of that directly into that. So I want to put the wood there to give it a little bit more of an anchor. But it's been fun hanging out in my shed. I haven't been in here in 8 months because the ramp, I couldn't get in without the ramp, which that's exaggerating. I have come in a few times, but like I'm literally having to crawl in and out on my hands and knees just to get down, and like it was just doing too much. So now that the ramp is back, I can start moving some of this stuff out. So I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think I should do with all this stuff? Like, should I try to sell it? Should I just give it away? Should I just put like an oat? Because, there's always people that need stuff. And I don't mind, giving it to folks who need stuff. But this is just like cutesy decor type of stuff. Like there's dishes and glassware. I'm not giving away my cookware, obviously. That's got to find a home inside the home. But like, it's a lot of just cute, fun, vintage stuff in here that, in today's world, in the world that we're living in right now, people are not really focusing on stuff. Like they're focusing on survival. So I just realized that to put forth any more energy into that type of business is not time well spent. Whereas I could just focus on creating a garden or a potting shed type of space. And, I could have classes in here. I could have folks come over, teach them how to grow, teach them how to plant and pot and, learn about producing food in their backyards. I just think that that would be a better use of this space than, trying to sell cute, fun, vintage decor. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please don't shame me by all of my stuff. It was a different world. I was a different Kina Renee, back when all of this started happening. We grow and we learn and we figure out that sometimes we have to redirect and, find different purpose and different passions. And that's kind of where I am right now. I'm loving, loving, loving gardening, and I love the community. I love learning and helping others learn. I love sharing what I'm learning. I want the space also to become an area where I can have friends and family come over, and I have a really cute vintage table and bench and chairs. Like, these are the chairs right here, and they're so cute. I found them thrifted. I had them reupholstered. But I want to be able to eventually set this space up so that I can entertain in here too. Like, have my girlfriends over. We can do Bible studies. We can, have brunch. We can have little garden parties and garden book clubs in this space. So I don't know. Should I give it all away? Should I have the resellers come and pick it up? Should I send it to charity? Or should I just open it up for folks to come and pick what they need? I'd love to hear your thoughts. So anyway, more to come from the Corner of Whimsy and Bliss.